Thank you, Kelly. Well, today the man charged in the death of former NFL star and local standout Joe McKnight is expected to appear in court.
Ronald Gasser is accused of shooting McKnight in what's been called a road rage incident gone bad at a busy Terrytown intersection back in December.
And WDSG reporter Kelsey Davis joins us live now from Gretna to explain what's expected to happen in court today. Good morning, Kelsey.
Charles, good morning. Today is supposed to be a motions and status hearing for Ronald Gasser and his attorneys in that second-degree murder trial that is already proceedings have started for some time now. Now, investigators say Gasser and Joe McKnight were involved in a road rage incident in a Terrytown intersection that ended in a Terrytown intersection. That's where police say Gasser fired his handgun 3 times, shooting and killing Joe McKnight. Initially, Gasser was charged with manslaughter, but earlier this month, a grand jury decided to upgrade that charge to second-degree murder. After his arraignment hearing on February 6, where Gasser entered a plea of not guilty, one of his attorneys had this to say about that upgraded charge.
I don't think that it's their position to present anything favorable to the defendant. It's strictly what they want to present. The old saying is that a good assistant DA can indict a ham sandwich, and he was indicted for second-degree murder. What was presented, I don't know. We will find that out.
Now, Gasser remains behind bars on a $750,000 bond. If he is convicted of second-degree murder, he could spend the rest of his life behind bars without the possibility of parole. Today's hearing is set for 9 o'clock here in Gretna. For now, reporting live in Gretna, Kelsey Davis, WDSU News.
Thank you, Kelsey. Well, charges have been reduced for the men who police say opened fire on Bourbon Street during the Bayou Classic weekend. 1 person was killed in the shooting and 9 others were hurt. A judge found no probable cause to charge Jordan Clay and Trayvon Manuel with first-degree murder and attempted first-degree murder, instead finding only enough to hold them on lesser charges of manslaughter and attempted manslaughter. An NOPD officer took the stand Wednesday testifying on the facts of the case. Police say both men, who are from Lafayette, had an ongoing dispute. Investigators say when they saw each other, they got into a verbal altercation and opened fire in court. Both of their lawyers claim their client acted in self-defense. And police say it's unclear who fired first. Manuel's mother says all she can do is pray for her son.
We're still praying for the process, and I'm hoping that God would see fit to do what he's going to do.
The district attorney's office now has until early April to bring an indictment against the men, or they will be released. Now, due to the judge's ruling, he reduced their bonds from over $2 million to $375,000.
Well, this morning, the search is on for a new labor secretary nominee after, in an abrupt move, fast food exec Andy Putster took himself out of the running. Now, he was supposed to be on Capitol Hill today for a confirmation hearing, but after a tape surfaced showing his ex-wife on Oprah back in the 90s accusing him of domestic violence, he withdrew his name from consideration. He had also faced criticism for labor issues, including belatedly paying taxes on his housekeeper. Putster, the CEO of CKE Restaurants, which owns Hardee's and Carl's Jr., says he was a victim of unprecedented smear campaigns.
And this morning there are new developments in the midst of all these staff shakeups at the White House. President
Trump is now praising his ousted national security advisor as more lawmakers on Capitol Hill demand investigations into his firing.
And Nicole Killian is live in Washington with the very latest. And Nicole, so what is the president saying about all this?
Well, Randy and Charles, President Trump is blaming the media and intelligence leaks, just tweeting a short time ago that leaking, even illegal classified leaking, has been a big problem in Washington for years. Again, that is the president's latest tweet as he looks for a way to deal with the loss of his former national security advisor, Michael Flynn.
Michael Flynn, General Flynn, is a wonderful man. I think he's been treated very, very unfairly by the media.
Well, the president praised Flynn yesterday during a press conference, although that does stand in stark contrast to the White House's statement just a day earlier that it was the president's erosion of trust in Flynn that resulted in his firing. The president also didn't comment on reports that members of his campaign team were in contact with Russian intelligence during the election. On Capitol Hill, Democrats are calling for an independent investigation into the president's Russia ties, and at least 2 congressional committees want investigations into potential leaks and the circumstances surrounding surrounding Flynn's resignation. Meantime, the president appears to be close to picking a more permanent replacement for Flynn and may reportedly tap a former U.S. Navy SEAL, Vice Admiral Robert Harward. Back to you.
And Nicole, there are some new reports emerging this morning about President Trump and the intelligence community, including another possible shakeup. What do we know about that?
Well, a New York Times report this morning actually says that President Trump may tap New York billionaire Steven Feinberg to oversee a review of U.S. intelligence agencies. Right now, he's part of the President's Economic Council and also said to have ties with some of Trump's inner circle. However, according to this report, the move, which is not officially confirmed at this point, is unsettling to some in the intelligence community. Meantime, you've got a Wall Street Journal report out this morning that claims U.S. intelligence officials are withholding sensitive information from the president out of concern that it may be leaked or compromised, although the Office of the Director of National Intelligence issued a statement saying any suggestion of that isn't true. Randy, Charles.
All right, Nicole Killian in Washington for us. Thank you very much. And this morning, President Trump meets with several members of Congress at the White House for a listening session. This afternoon, he meets with his Attorney General, Jeff Sessions.
Well, today, a mobile disaster recovery center is opening up for tornado victims in Livingston Parish. Specialists with FEMA and the Small Business Administration will be on hand to help people with their questions about assistance and how to apply for disaster benefits. That's going to be open at the Livingston Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness on Government Boulevard in Livingston.
And the Joe Brown Recreation Center will no longer be used as a temporary shelter for tornado victims in New Orleans East. Those who were still housed there are now being set up with other housing plans. People who lost their homes can go to the Disaster Recovery Center at the East New Orleans Public Library to register for assistance with FEMA. That's open from 8 to 6 p.m. Monday through Sunday.
And tornado victims now have a 2-month extension to file their taxes. So this means people living in Livingston and Orleans parishes, as well as business owners in those parishes, have until June 30th to file their tax returns. To be eligible for this extension, you have to live in a federally declared disaster area.
And later today, Jefferson Parish will collect products and debris removal tools for tornado victims. They'll be taking rakes, gloves, utility carts, brooms, shovels, and protective eyewear. You can drop off donations at Lafreniere Park from noon until 6 tonight.
And also, the city is welcoming the opening of the new Nord Milne NOLA for Life Center. The ribbon cutting is set for 10:30 this morning on Franklin Avenue.
Good morning. It's a chilly start to the day under clear skies. We have high pressure that's driving in the cooler air out the door this morning. And the latest look at the outside, looking at the Superdome, we're looking at clear skies across the region. And you don't need the umbrellas today. We'll bring those back, though, in the forecast for Friday. If you're biking today, whether to work or to school, expect temperatures in the 30s for the North Shore and some spots on the South Shore, 40s elsewhere. Lots of sunshine once we get sunrise, and then sunny and pleasant on the way home with temperatures in the 60s this afternoon. Low to middle 60s for the day. Right now it's 49 degrees at the airport in Kenner. Our winds are north-northeast at 3 miles per hour. Much lighter right now than they were at this time yesterday, where we had that brisk northerly flow behind that cold front. Dew point temperatures in the 30s, a sign of the drier air that's also working in. Dry air, clear skies. We're looking at temperatures close to freezing now for Slidell at 33. That's definitely a cold start. 36 for Belle Chase and 39 for Galliano. 51 at the airport and all areas closer to New Orleans East and Gentilly. Next 24 hours, we're looking at temperatures to climb, but certainly much cooler right now than at this time yesterday by 10 and 20 degrees. Clouds well south of the area now until you get to the western half of the state, where we have some clouds beginning to build in. High pressure, though, will start to move into the Gulf. That'll warm us up. Not so much this afternoon. We'll be in the lower 60s, so similar to where we were yesterday. But as we move into the evening hours and overnight, not quite as cool. 40s out the door Friday morning, looking at 50s on the South Shore. Now, Friday afternoon, I think we're going to be generally dry. We'll say a 20% chance of a stray shower. I think the better chance for rain comes not so much in the evening, but towards midnight, Friday into Saturday. And that rain works through overnight. So pretty good timing in terms of the weekend. I think the rest of the weekend is going to be dry. We'll have a look at that mild and warm forecast coming up right now out the door at 6:11 with your traffic with Kelly Brown.
All right, good morning. And if you are headed out the door, no accidents or breakdowns this morning. And all of our ferries are in service if you're making that drive over
over on the West Bank. That drive looks great on the West Bank Expressway as you make your way from Gretna to the CCC. Give yourself just 5 minutes. That'll get you from Barataria to the Crescent City connection this morning. And if you are making that drive in or around the CBD, here's a live shot of I-10 at Claiborne, looking great. No issues, no accidents or breakdowns as the sun comes up, looking really good. You're in for a smooth commute, even if you're coming I-10 eastbound from Kenner through Metairie. I'm Kelly. That's a look at your time saver traffic.
Thank you for that, Kelly. Well, Louisiana lawmakers just have 7 days left to fix the state's massive budget deficit. What Governor Edwards says needs to happen for the state to get out of the hole.
And one famous actress is ready for Mardi Gras, showing some love on social media to one local bakery's king cake. We'll tell you where she got it from. That's coming up.
And you can find our WDSU weather forecast every weekday morning on the Ricky Smiley Show. That's Power 102.9. Today, the Senate votes on the nominee for the Director of Office of Management and Budget.
Yeah, Mick Mulvaney is a congressman from South Carolina. He's expected to be confirmed today. Once that vote is complete, the Senate will begin debate on the nomination of Scott Pruitt to be head of the EPA. Now, after Mulvaney and Pruitt there are at least 4 other cabinet secretaries that need to be voted on. And a second woman has been arrested in connection with the killing of the one-time heir apparent in North Korea. Kim Jong-nam was the half-brother of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Police in Malaysia say Kim Jong-nam was poisoned this week at an airport terminal by 2 female assassins. He had fallen out of favor at home and lived abroad for years.
And new this morning, we're hearing from Governor John Bel Edwards and why he says we're facing a dire budget situation in Louisiana on the heels of this latest special session. The governor says we have a cash flow problem right now because we had to use $246 million during last year's floods, money that was taken from state agencies and hasn't been reimbursed yet. So that's why he believes it's okay to dip into the state's rainy day funds right now.
And that's why I believe now is the time to use the rainy day fund, which, by the way, exists for this express purpose, is to stabilize the budget when, as here, the revenue doesn't come in as it was forecasted.
Well, you can hear from the governor during his next radio show the week of March 13th. And while the state is facing budget woes, the governor's campaign war chest is bolstering. The governor says he's raised more than $3 million for his re-election bid in just his first year of office. Now, all were contributions, he says, that were from Louisiana residents. Attorney General Jeff Landry, who possibly could be Edwards' competitor in 2019, reported close to $900,000 in his campaign donations at the close of 2016.
Well, today, Governor John Bel Edwards will speak at the America's Wetland Foundation Summit. The event is centered around the national significance of Louisiana's Coastal Master Plan. Now, it starts at noon at the Ballroom Lod Cook Alumni Center in Baton Rouge. And next week, senators will resume discussions on expelling Geismar Democrat Troy Brown. Peers say Brown is not fit to serve in office after pleading no contest twice to domestic abuse charges over the past year. Brown's attorneys have asked a state court to block the proceedings. Despite the filing, the Senate held its first hearing on the expulsion effort. A second is scheduled for Monday.
Well, at 6:18 now, even if you don't live in Louisiana, in-state tuition is being offered at the University of Louisiana at Lafayette to any potential student whose parent got at least an associate's degree from any college in the state. The Louisiana Legacy Scholarship is worth more than $13,000 a year and until now was only offered to anyone who lived out of state but had a parent who graduated from ULL. Well, school officials say they hope to attract more students with family ties to Louisiana with this new program.
Well, that sounds like a great program. Great forecast for us today. Lots of sunshine back across the area as we move throughout the morning hours. We'll continue with that sunshine, but certainly a chilly start, even cold. We have a beautiful shot here over the Mississippi River, sunrise official at 6:40 this morning. But don't be fooled by those clear skies. It's a cold one out there. We'll continue with the cool air throughout the day. Rain chances returning Friday, a 20% chance during the day and a 70% chance overnight. The weekend, though, the remainder of the weekend will be mild and it'll be be dry. Temperatures today will be making the climb back into the lower 60s. Our normal high is 66. Will be just below that, but sunshine will be abundant. 56 by 7 o'clock. Still with clear skies in play. We're on the cool side of the high pressure, which is over Texas. Notice the clouds now well south of the region will continue cloud-free throughout the afternoon. 49 at the airport in Kenner. Winds are much lighter right now, north-northeast 5 miles per hour. Dew points down into the 30s. That's a pleasant, crisp feel out the door this morning. Temperature is certainly cold on the North Shore, close to freezing for Slidell. Hammond at 34 along with Bogalusa, and even some 30s on the South Shore from Belle Chase to Galliano, mid to upper 30s. 50 for Boothville, 51 right now at the Lakefront Airport. That's also where the winds are a little bit more active, 12 miles per hour out of the northeast. Same goes for Grand Isle, and much calmer from Belle Chase to Gramercy. One gust left here around Grand Isle as well at 16 miles per hour. Remember the winds yesterday, a breezy setup through the afternoon. Expect much lighter winds, even going calm by 4 o'clock and down to around 3 miles per hour at 7. So a nice afternoon and evening in store. Tonight, not as cool. Overnight lows in the 40s on the North Shore, upper 40s, low 50s on the South Shore. That's our launching pad into Friday morning. Temperatures climbing into Friday afternoon. Cold air all over the United States now has taken over the Gulf Coast. The exception now, Florida, still left with temperatures in the 60s out the door this morning. High pressure continues to build in, troughs digging in from the north, and that'll supply that drier air throughout the day. But we're going to see some changes coming up, and one of those associated with this area of low pressure now that's working across parts of northern Mexico. This will help to supply that rain chance into Friday. So again, high pressure today, lots of sunshine. Don't forget the shades and the jackets and sweaters out the door this morning. High pressure slides east of the region into Friday morning. A chilly start on Friday, but rain free, I think, for most of the day. This is by 6 o'clock. Not showing too much here in terms of shower activity. Will bring the better chance of rain, I think, towards the midnight hour Saturday morning. But good news is most of that rain should be out of here by 9-10 o'clock Saturday, and we'll be left with the rest of the weekend on the dry note. So lots to enjoy. Temperatures making that climb as well. Mid to upper 70s through the weekend. President today close to 80. Rain chances higher into Tuesday and Wednesday. Maybe some locally heavy rain with that next storm period moving in Tuesday and Wednesday. That's your forecast. Your time right now is 6:21. A check of your traffic with Kelly Brown.
All right, good morning. Clear skies and clear roadways. We are accident and breakdown free, but if you're traveling across the causeway, keep in mind we have a high wind advisory in effect. No motorcycles are allowed across the bridge at this time, but as you can see, headlights and taillights moving right along this morning. Now, if you're making that drive from New Orleans East Chef Mentor Highway, the exit remains closed. Chef is also closed between Wilson and I-510. 7 minutes will get you from Chef to the CBD this morning. And if you're making that drive through Metairie, keep in mind we have some alternating lane closures happening. Cleary Avenue at West Metairie. That's going to happen between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. until February 17th. That's until Friday. They're going to be constructing some new handicap ramps, so keep that in mind. That construction will start today at 9 a.m. If you're coming in through Metairie, here's a live look at I-10 at Causeway. No accidents or issues this morning. Randy Charles, back to you.
And you can find our WDSU weather forecast every weekday morning on the Tom Joyner Morning Show on Old School 106.7. Time now 6:25, and the Forbes list of the most valuable NBA teams is out, and the New York Knicks and Los Angeles Lakers are on top.
And the Pelicans, unfortunately, are at the very bottom, coming in at number 30. The Pels are valued at $750 million, which is so far more than the $338 million Tom Benson paid for the team in 2012. But the average NBA franchise is worth $1.36 billion. The Knicks are worth $3.3, the Lakers $3 billion.
You know, the sights and sounds of Mardi Gras filled a long-term care facility last night. The entire court and many riding members of the crew of Toth turned out for the festivities at the Henkel Home and Rehabilitation Center. It's a partnership between the two groups called Crew of Angels. The elderly residents were treated to a Mardi Gras breakfast and this grand mask ball coronation. The partnership between Toth and Henkel Home goes beyond Mardi Gras. The crew has replaced and upgraded the facility's sound system and is working to with area dentists to provide Henkel's Dental Clinic with some necessary updates and equipment.
And my father-in-law was out there with Toth, so so excited. They were so excited to be out there and had a great time. You just saw him on camera, by the way. My
All right, shout out to her father-in-law. Well, Modern Family's shouting out. Sofia Vergara is also ready for Mardi Gras.
Yeah, the actress posted this photo on Instagram showing her posing with Hadel's king cake. The post says, "Straight from Nola, king cake. There's never been a cake that I don't like. Hashtag ready for Mardi Gras." We need to send her a few more because Hadel's is only one variety of everything
I
that
think
New
she
Orleans
needs to come
has to
here
offer.
on King Cake Friday.
I agree. Bring us one.
Exactly. I'm just saying. Put out
We can
there.
all partake
Sophia,
in
if you
some
want
king
to come
cake
on down.
together. Yes.
And bring your husband, Joe.
Yeah, bring Joe and
Yeah.
come on down. Have some cake.